If you're enjoying this content, remember, do us all a favor. Remember to like this video and also, more importantly, subscribe. Help us grow. Okay, today I am joined by my good friend, my family brother. He's like my one blood, Mr. Michael Carberry. How are you, sir?
I'm all right, sir. How are you doing? Good to see you again, man.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you. Looking sharp. Look at those guns.
Trying to, man. Try and keep in shape. Keep up with these youngsters.
Talking to youngsters, I can see there's a who's that looking over your shoulder from that easel?
I finally managed to finish a portfolio. You know well, because last time we spoke, I think, which was quite a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've just started sketching it out. So it's Marcus Rashford. So I wanted to kind of, do a little tribute, for someone who, who's done some special things, obviously, using his platform and whatnot, using his voice to kind of throw light on what's been happening and with the kids at school and, getting the meals and stuff like that. So, and highlighting certain things with the government. So, yeah, I thought just to recognize what he's done.
It's a very good picture. You've caught his likeness really well. It's
I'll get a little close up.
You are certainly talented, mate. You're really, look at that.
Yeah, try my best, mate. Doesn't always go to. The thing is, when you sketch it out, it doesn't always go to plan. But it's I always say it's a series of mistakes. But you just try and lessen the mistakes. That was all.
That's it. Well, I've got one of your Bob Marley prints hanging out. Can't see it, and it's not in this room, but in my other room. But if people are interested in this, michaelcarberryart.com is the site, yeah?
Yeah, that's the one. Yep, still running. Yeah. Check it out.
I'll put the link across the bottom of this video so we can see. So anyway, cricket. The dust has settled after England's Ashes tour, and we're about to start a series out in the West Indies, which is being talked about as being the reset button for the England Test team. But I wanted to ask you, as someone that has been down on an Ashes tour to Australia and felt the heat and felt the pressure, just what were your memories and recollections of that 2013-14 tour?
Well, not very good ones from a cricket point of view. I thoroughly enjoyed the challenge because I suppose at that stage of my career was, well into my mid-30s, and I had to obviously wait a long time behind Cook and Strauss, obviously two great openers. So unexpectedly from my end, I was called up to go and open the batting. And even when I got on the trip, I still didn't think I'd play. Joe Root at the time was the sort of incumbent opener. But I played really well on the trip and got some runs and managed to get myself in the team. And I suppose looking back, it was a challenge that I dreamt about, really. I wanted to face the world's quickest bowlers, and in Australia's backyard. I think every Englishman, you sort of dream of that. You every day you're working towards that through the county game. So to get the opportunity was fantastic. The results obviously, weren't great. We were in all departments thoroughly outplayed by what was an outstanding Australian attack, really. It was just relentless pressure all day. Johnson obviously was, the one sort of well documented the pace that he bowled at and the hostility, but it's the other guys around him. It was Ryan Harris, it was Peter Siddle, it was Shane Watson, it was Nathan Lyon. They just really outplayed us. And but it was one of those where I came back from that trip, and obviously we were heavily criticised in the press, rightly so. But I felt that for me, Test cricket won't get any harder than that, and I felt to some degree like I passed the test. Like I stood up, I enjoyed the challenge. I was up for it every day, and there was great learnings from that. I didn't feel like overruled by the situation. I came out, I think it was second highest run scorer. So, so for my end, I thought, right, well, I proved to myself that technically I could play. It's just at that level now. It's all mental, isn't it? It's just feeling, dealing with the pressure, and I suppose being able to close out noise and things like that from external and just play your game, really.
Yes, I mean, there's a point I've been trying to make. I don't understand why everyone's coming down so hard on this England team, particularly in the circumstances of COVID and everything, going to Australia. Going to Australia is always a hard thing. And England getting beaten heavily in Australia is nothing new. I mean, I can't remember the last time we went down there, and I think the series before you went, I think 10-11 was the last time.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And, even... the side that you were part of was a strong England side, but still got, beaten heavily. I'm quite interested. You mentioned a point about when, in terms of pressure and the kind of mental aspect, is the toughest to go on. I think that's always been the way, but a lot's made of mental health these days and player welfare and looking after them. And what was it like when you went? Were there people there to help players deal with it?
I mean, to be honest, my recollection of it wasn't the best team environment that I was part of. I'll be frank and honest. You were kind of the England team that I played, or the era that I played in. I mean, we had some of England's greatest cricketers, in history, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it was the best team. So coming in to the circle as a newbie, I think a lot of the time, I felt you were very much on your own a lot of the time. Unless you were prepared to form some alliances, which is not really my way. I'll talk straight. If I don't agree, I don't agree, as long as I've got facts and reasons behind what I'm saying. But so you kind of had to play the game a little bit, but that's not me. But it wasn't the best team environment, and then you had obviously Andy Flower. Probably didn't have the best relationships with him, and he wasn't someone that on the tour was someone that I felt like I could go to and say, yeah, look, at certain times, oh, look, I'm struggling or whatever. But the thing is, Dave, for me, is that where I've grown up, where I came up in South London, where growing up as a kid in the 80s and 90s, watching what my family had to go through to get me these opportunities. I mean, look, I had plus personal health issues that I had at the time. My fight was a lot tougher than Australian bowling attack, to be honest. And I've seen tougher things growing up. So I maybe naturally, mentally, I was just naturally geared for challenges. That's just part and parcel of being a black sports person in Britain, is that you have to be strong, because through my whole journey as a cricketer, it's been about facing challenges, overcoming challenges, sometimes the physicality challenges, or just simply the game itself. Having someone, an opponent, be it Mitchell Johnson, be it Ryan Harris, whoever it might be, and you've got to find a way. So yeah, that was a sad thing about that tour, is it was how it all kind of imploded as the games went on. We didn't get tighter. We actually fragmented. Even the coaching staffs were very much worrying about their own jobs, and so for a lot of the time, yeah, you kind of felt more at home out there in the middle batting, really, because you know what you're going to get from Australia. I didn't necessarily know what I'd get when I'm walking back to the change room.
I just wonder if we're actually right now reaching the end of that cycle, because without naming names or anything, but particularly in that side that you were part of, big characters, big egos, big presence in the dressing rooms. And as an observer just looking in, you could think and look at these people and just think, they're not the sort that would be sort of necessarily team players or people that I'd want to be sort of sharing a dressing room with. And I'm just wondering now whether we're at the end of that cycle with the current team that's going out to the West Indies, and that the team that's going seems to be a bit more cricket minded in terms of, like you said, whether they're looking after their careers or their performance or something like that.
I mean, it's difficult to say. I mean, as I say, I'd only spent one series in the team, or and 4 years apart from my debut. So I mean, it's difficult to. I think cricket teams notoriously has always had a cluster or a group of people that are influential in the team, and people in it, I guess, who comes in, who they accept, who they don't accept. I don't think it's just England. I think, look, you've seen it in Australia. They've obviously had some issues with my good friend Justin Langer, who's now left the role. So you can see even there's rumblings there in their sort of ranks and their team. I mean, where I think it fell apart for England on this trip was, I mean, I don't know so much if it's a personality thing. I just think that, our cricket structure, hasn't lent itself to producing the players we need for Test cricket. I mean, I see it now. I'm coaching kids myself, that kids are, certainly from a batting point of view, the patience levels are just non-existent. They don't see patience as being a skill. It's all heavily focusing, wanting to come in and swing across the ball and hit boundaries. They're not interested in the intricacies of batting or the game of cricket. The patience needed to be a bowler, to run in and hit a good line and length from a batting perspective, being able to play straight and stay at the wicket. That's a skill. You can't make runs, as my dad always used to tell me, you can't make runs sat in the pavilion. So I think it's more, I would say it's more societal problems now coming to the front as to why our Test cricket in particular is suffering, because I just think the modern crop of players now, as I said, they know what is possible now by just putting your foot down the track and having a whoopsie woo, versus learning the art of batting, which still allows you to go and play in these tournaments. I might add, there's this stigma attached that if you're a proper batsman, like I was an opening batsman, you get this label that you can't score quickly. Now, you put my record up against anyone's. I mean, I scored as quickly with some of the best. And yes, I could still bat a day and get 100 or save a game, which a lot of the time I had to do for Hampshire in red ball cricket, because we were just groomed that way. Growing up, as I say, learning cricket in the 80s, 90s, that's how we were taught. We watched a whole day of Test cricket and watched my heroes, Greenwich, Haynes, Richards, who was as attacking it. Yeah, Butcher. Yeah, he snuck in there as well. Yeah, but I spent a lot of time watching Mark, because he played at my club. He played for Surrey, and very close to his family. His dad obviously was one of my first real professional coach and first left-handed coach. And I mean, Alan, only used to talk to me about batting and how to make runs. And we still used to go out and pongo it in one-day cricket, but we still had the basics in place.
God, I'm old enough I watched Alan playing for England, the Oval. I'm that old. Blimey. You mentioned your health.
I watched him from 22 yards, mate, and he was about 44 years old, and he was still giving it licks.
Legends, the pair of them.
Yeah, man.
How are you keeping? Because you mentioned your health, and I think last time you were on, we went through the various struggles you've had. And I managed to say blood clot without using a Jamaican accent as well. So.
yeah, but I mean, just I suppose it's been finished now for 4 years, and obviously we've had some tricky times in the last 2 years. So yeah, just tried to use the time to keep in shape. The fact I'm doing a lot more coaching now obviously lends itself to that. I'm throwing a lot of balls every weekend. So just thought keep myself in shape. So I've been, out there training and getting, just maintenance, really just enjoying it, and, watching my diet and that kind of stuff. And obviously I have to manage certain things, but touch wood, everything is good, man. Thanks for asking.
Oh, and long may that continue. Now, it's quite sunny when I'm looking out the window this morning, sort of getting towards spring. We're into March. You can smell the cricket season. You can smell it. Everyone's getting excited. And as you said, you're coaching kids these days. And a little bird tells me that you and Scotty Newman have got an Easter elite cricket camp down at, is it Beckenham you're doing it? Is that right? This Easter?
Yeah. So me and my childhood mate, Scott Newman, so we've known each other since, age 10, I think it was, when we first met at Surrey Juniors. So we got together last year when we obviously reopened, and it's stuff we've been chatting about for a few years, doing something together as two mates, and obviously we finally got the opportunity. So we're running some Easter camps down at Beckenham, so we managed to get a good space down there. It's a fantastic facility down there. And before that, we were running a 10-week junior camp for between sort of 11 to 15s at the Oval for 10 weeks. And that was a real success. That was our sort of breakthrough, if you like. Parents were, by the end, were really, really pleased with the progress of their kids. Because again, we just really went back to basics, yes, the natural talent is there with some of them, but it's now getting them, especially at that younger age, to understand the basics of the game. And that last 2-3 weeks, we were, both us and the parents were sort of just watching, it was almost like a mini test match, watching under 11s going at it hard, beautiful outswingers and batters playing nice and straight and that kind of stuff. And it was good to see, I'm glad. And we must, I think it's our duty as former players and coaches to keep promoting that. Yes, the short form of the game, but if you've got those basics in place, I think, kids will enjoy the game a lot better, will stay in the game a lot longer. And that's ultimately all we can do. Whether they go on and make pros, I think that's down to them and talent and opportunity and that thing called luck. But in their sort of formative years, I think it's really important to just teach them the fundamental basics. So these camps, we've got them for 3 or 4 hours, and it's really diving into all facets. Some batting, bowling, fielding, some fitness as well. So they get the sort of whole collective package.
I agree. It's a really satisfying thing when you see a youngster playing a shot, holding the pose and getting it right, being balanced. It's a really satisfying thing, isn't it? And what age groups can come to this camp?
Yeah, so we sort of target mainly say juniors with hardball experience. So I think anything from around age 11 to sort of 15, 16. Because again, those are good ages where you can really get in there now and talk to them and make any sort of changes or adjustments, and getting them just to understand the basic fundamentals of the game. Because I think that's where kind of things have been lost in general. We talked about the Ashes and debacle we had this winter. I think again, I think that undoubtedly, because due to the fact that all the investment's been in short form cricket over the last couple of years, so there had to be collateral damage, and unfortunately it was the test game. So so I think that it's important, this next generation coming up, if we can start that ball rolling, by the time hopefully some of them push on and go and play much higher level cricket, they're already in place.
And it would be a lot of fun knowing you two. It would be enjoyable as well as hard work. So if people want to get in touch and book their places, they got email Scott, I believe. Email address is newman500@btinternet.com.
That's the one.
That's right. I've got it. I've got the details. I'm cheating a little bit. I'm looking. So Tuesday 19th to Thursday the 21st of April. 2022. Obviously, it's at the indoor school at the Kent County Cricket Ground in Beckenham, and it's 2 3-hour sessions per day. So I would suggest anyone that's got a youngster that is keen on cricket, or it's probably good preparation because it's so close to the start of the cricket. In May, everyone will be outside and playing matches. So to do something like this, timing is great.
Yeah, we figured the safe bet was to get something indoors. Obviously, can't always guarantee the weather in April, so we figured, get something indoors where we can guarantee the weather. And let's say it's a great facility. So for anyone that's got some kids who are keen, and want to sort of, we'll say it's more, it's an advanced camp in terms of. So this is why we sort of target kids that are already kind of playing hardball cricket, who are looking to sort of brush up their skills going forward.
Excellent. Well, I'll put all the details right across the screen on our website and our social media as well. So, and then beyond that, Cobbs, what are your plans this summer? Are you going to be watching a bit of cricket? I don't think you're playing anymore, but what are your plans for the summer?
So I'm also just been made head coach of London Schools Cricket Association as well. So been sort of busy. Thank you, mate. So I've been busy with that for the last 20 odd weeks, up at the Oval most weekends. So I'm working with the EPG section, which is what we're hoping to turn into a sort of academy kind of set up with a pathway into the county. So it's mainly lads around the sort of post-school, school leavers, coming up to school leavers age, and was trying to stretch it to 19. So we developed a relationship with Northants, I believe, Derby and Worcester at the moment. So yeah, it's kind of for kids who had a little bit of taste of county experience but haven't quite, for whatever reason, cut the mustard. So we're just trying to refine and retune and polish them up, so that other counties can sort of look at them, and hopefully they can get onto academy and then hopefully join the professional staff. So yeah, it's been so far so good. Guys have worked really, really hard. I think getting used to a different way of working and training for some of them. When they first met me, they weren't sure what I had conjured up for them, but
everyone's like that when they first meet you.
Yeah, exactly. But it was. I feel it was important for me to start giving them that talk. I think they're at that age now where they can, for those who have got aspirations to play much higher cricket, I think it's important they know what they're walking into. So I said to them, look, you've got to tick all the certain boxes now. You've got to be able to tick and learn about the game, play a much smarter game than what you're doing now. It's not just, again, about coming in, trying to whack every ball. You've got to learn how to bat, and that still allows you to go out and to whack boundaries later on down the line. But just learning the general game and the mindset, and more importantly, I think that's as you get higher up in in your career, you find that the majority of it is played between the ears, which they're getting there. It'd be interesting to see now, having I think we've got them for 25 weeks, so we're at week 19, I think, now. So it'd be interesting now when we got some fixtures obviously in place this summer, so I'm going to try and get around to a lot of those to then lend some moral support and kick a few in the backside. But it'd be interesting to see, again, take, away from nets, under, when they're under that sort of pressure, who responds, and is that it just comes down to that word desire, isn't it? When you're out there in the middle, who really wants that contract, will sort of come forward, and obviously then with the younger age group who I've got Scott involved with as well. So Scott is running the under 11s to 15s for me in Mill Hill most weekends. So we're in constant contact. So if there's any tasty looking cricketers up that way, then it's a natural pathway to me. So we're getting good to get around to see some of their games as well. So yeah, it'd be, again, a bit, some more coaching and I suppose getting a bit of travelling this summer to get around a lot of the London schools games, age group games to sort of see who's the next sort of crop of talent. And so it should be, and then I'm hoping to get, do some media work as well with BBC. I'm hoping that will sort of continue. So usually summers are quite busy. There's hardly any days off, man.
Well, you are a top man. I will vouch for that personally, and it's great the work you're doing and inspirational to all these youngsters. And long may it continue. We look forward to hearing your voice, seeing your face on the BBC over the summer. You were a very constant presence last year, so I don't doubt that will continue. Oh, but before you go, how's your mum?
Mum is good, thanks. Yeah, she's good, much better. Yeah, she's doing well. Yeah, she's into her fitness now as well. So
oh, really?
She's out. Yeah, she's done well, man. She's out there doing her walks 3-4 times. She's putting me to shame, I tell you. She's putting me to shame. Now she's doing really well. Thank you. She's doing great. Yeah, health is much better. Yeah,
good to hear.
She's good.
All right, we'll wrap it up there, but we'll put all the details of the Easter cricket camp across our media, and I'll put the details on this video as well. But viewers and listeners, if you're interested, I suggest you get involved and keep an eye on the other stuff that Carbs and Scotty Newman are doing, because they are top men, and you will learn so much. No matter what age you are, whether you're 11, whether you are 16, whether you are 60, you will learn from these guys. Take it easy, my man. Good to see you and hear you.
Yeah, man. Great to see you,
soon.
Yeah, for sure, man. You take care. All right, buddy. Look after yourself, man.